Oaktown.
Let's play ball.
Look out, here we go.
Here it is.
This is going to get ugly here. It is.
Yo, what is up, Christian? Back in LA.
Yeah.
How is it?
Cold. It's cold. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got the I like the nice background you got rocking right now.
Yeah, I just threw a couple t-shirts up there, thinking about World Series past. It's been 10 years plus. So.
I read a tweet today because sometimes I'm on X. I got to admit it. I'm out there sometimes. And it kind of doesn't mesh with our title of our show. But Howie Rose and Marty Lurie, I echo their statement, which is personally, I want to hear nothing about Juan Soto until he signs somewhere. No rumors, no speculation, no progress report, no mystery team. I take it all with a grain of salt. Wake me up when he has a new team. Until then, serenity now. I couldn't have said it any better. That's beautiful.
I think that's just about right. Actually,
I really believe there's other things in baseball to talk about than where Juan Soto is going. And just for the record, it's not San Francisco.
Well, we know that.
So as Giants fans, we have to just kind of we're making moves, we got Randy Wynn, we got Zach Maniason, we got today, I don't know if you saw the news, but they hired Bobby Evans and Jeff Berry as advisors to the president of ops, who is the new president of ops, Mr. Buster Posey, who I found out last night listening to old Glen and Eric. Buster Posey trademarked his name so the Giants can't sell his jersey. This seems like a huge conflict of interest to me. What the hell's going on? You're the owner of a ball club that can't sell your jersey? I'm like, oh, God, this is starting out incredible.
It could be a big anti-ego move because we both know that Buster's like a team guy. He's not. I don't think he really digs the spotlight, even though they shined it on him quite a bit and he was worthy of it. So that's a strange one, though. The Bobby Evans thing. I mean, I have mixed feelings about Bobby Evans. I know that he was Sabine's right-hand man. I know that he was at least partially responsible for them really building up and having some great runs, 2014, 2016. But aside from that, I think he's only been brought in as a, quote, advisor, so consultant level thing. But before we go on, I just want to say Stephen Vogt, Manager of the Year. You saw that, right?
I did. Wow.
Yeah. We got to just
incredible.
Give a little mention of that because
big shot. Oh, Cheryl's gonna lose her mind on that one.
Yeah. He took them deep, man. It was great. So, anyways. This Juan Soto business, good Lord. He met with the Dodgers today. He was here in town somewhere.
Well, he lives down there, or he has a place down there. Apparently, his mamacita loves Southern California. So that's why people are thinking that he could wind up back with the Padres or the Dodgers because they like to live down there. But let me just, for the record, and we can talk about other things for sure. He's a Met. He is a New York Met. It just isn't official yet. Here's how it goes. He goes and talks to every team. How much am I worth? And then the Mets say, we want you more than anyone. So here's 10 million more, 20 million more, whatever it takes. You're a Met. I promise that's what's going to happen. There's no way that anyone can outspend the guy who owns the Mets.
That's true. I mean, he dumped the year that he brought in Scherzer and oh my gosh, they spent
Verlander and Scherzer.
Verlander and Scherzer. That's the name I was blanking on. And he spent $750 million that year, and look at where that got him. nowhere. He bought two rusty old pitchers that didn't get it done. Both got hurt. But shows he's not afraid to spend the money. And, as far as I'm concerned, anywhere but the Dodgers, Soto lands. Okay.
That's fine, right? Yeah.
He stays in the American League with the Yankees. Great. If he goes to the Mets, great. He goes to the Phillies. Yikes. Look out for the Phillies. And then, he met with Toronto, right? There's the San Diego
airplane flying to Toronto right now with a number 22 on it.
With the reservation at the Cuban restaurant or whatever. Yeah, great.
Hey, and here's one other thing real quick while we're talking about the Mets, and that's where he's going. The reason he's going there is because the Mets just signed Donovan Walton. You know that. Like Donnie Walton is into the minor leagues of the Mets now. Thank you, Mets. Thank you for taking Donnie.
That's somehow, there might be a guy
news.
Out. Yeah.
Addition by subtraction. It's a thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure, but there's probably one player in the major leagues who would see Donovan Walton sign there and go, "Yeah, I want to go there." I don't know who that player would be, but
maybe Wade Meckler.
Maybe Wade Meckler, and that would be good for the Giants, right?
Yeah, and me.
So they cut Kaiwei Ting today. They DFA'd
they did
to make room, 2 roster spots for 2 Rule 5 right-handed pitchers that they got. One of them came over in the trade for Darren Ruff, and he's been in there. He's been a Rule 5 guy, and the other guy's also a Rule 5 guy, and I can't remember where exactly he came from, but he was also acquired in a trade. So they opened up 2 spots on the 40-man for those guys. Have almost no major league experience, so we'll see how that works out if they're even with the team. But yeah,
cutting Tang didn't cut their salary much. I don't think that drops them.
No. But it did cut out a pitcher who had a 9+ ERA.
Sure.
So I mean, it's kind of cut your losses, and then in the meantime, Friday's the deadline for the QOs, right? And Yaz and Wade and Tyler Rogers, Doval, all those guys are waiting to hear what the Giants are they're gonna step up and make an offer or just cut them loose. So
when's the deadline for that?
Friday.
Okay, good. So my theory is people are thinking about recipes for their turkey right now. Let's wait till everybody's a little stuffed, and then their brain will get they're going to go through that whole phase of Thanksgiving. And then I think December, they come out swinging. Everyone's like, the Giants aren't doing anything. Buster's sleeping. Who's doing anything? The Angels have made a couple moves. Nobody's doing anything. It's early. Chill the fuck out. And every day talking about Soto doesn't make your anxiety any less. It's just we have to breathe. There's other things in life, The Giants need a pitcher. Here's my deal, okay, because we're gonna keep coming in and out of Soto. I'm hopped up on all kinds of coffee. I've been overdoing it today. I'm just going crazy with all kinds of different things. I'm multitasking here, doing this. But anyway, Juan Soto, $700 million minimum. Let's just throw that out because he's going to get $750. I bet. But let's just say $700 million for Soto, or behind door number 2, Snell, Adames, and either Goldie for a year or Santander. You can have all 3 of those guys for the same, maybe even less than you can have the one Juan. To me, it's such a no-brainer. You don't take the one Juan, and especially the I'm so hot Juan. If it was a humble judge, you'd think about it. But when it's check me out, I'm like Deion Sanders, it's not going to work well with this team. These guys are all boring middle American dudes that aren't going to know how to even handle being in the same atmosphere as Juan Soto. It's just Glen, Eric, just please let's bet money, and he's not coming to the Giants. So that's all I want to say on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're totally right about the swagger thing. And if Soto is on a team where he's surrounded by heavy hitters and stars and guys who all have their own unique sort of larger than life personalities, great, right? I mean, you see that like certain teams, they have that. But yeah, in a place like San Francisco, it's like he doesn't fit that mold. I mean, everybody always kind of refers to the Giants as being blue collar, sort of slightly down market names, but guys who produce and guys who are team players. And he just doesn't seem to fit into any of those holes. And like you said, the money, I mean, man, for Soto money, you could pick up quite a bit of talent, multiple players on good, some longer term deals and maybe some short deals. Right. I think Soto's going north of 700. I want to say, 700.25.
725. Okay. I got 750 because my belief is the Dodgers will offer him 700 and the Mets will come back and say 750 sold to us.
Right. Well, what was the rumor?
The Yankees are going to somehow tiptoe out of this one. They're going to be the Giants this year. They're going to be like, we tried, but we came in second. Like, I just don't feel the Yankees' enthusiasm on this. The Blue Jays, nobody wants to go to Canada. Come on. Like, who wants to play baseball in Toronto?
Yeah. Well, if you remember a couple of years back, Toronto was potent, right? They had a strong team, but
they're way off.
Yeah, I mean, I the Expos left. They're the only game in town. It's kind of like whatever. You could be right about the Yankees. They could be totally out on Soto. I think they're going to make a push for it. I think they're going to try to retain him just because who else fills that spot for the Yankees, right? And because, as I've mentioned before, Giancarlo Stanton is getting up there in years and how much longer he's going to be effective. And Soto is really going to end up being a premium DH in a couple of years anyway, right? His defense isn't great. Terrible base running. He's not super fast, and we saw, his defense really got exposed down the stretch this year and in the playoffs, man. Just like his routes to balls are bad. His speed's bad. Like he misjudges things. And it's like, he's kind of a defensive liability. And in San Francisco, right field is not an easy position to play, right? You need somebody who can really dial it in. And that's why Yastrzemski, in spite of his streaky hitting, was a great right fielder in San Francisco because his range, his hustle, and he sold out for balls all the time, just diving and hurting himself to get it. Like, you got to have that there. I mean, that's just a tricky spot to play. And, especially when you take into account Death Valley, right? And then you got a center fielder convergent. Like, that's a challenging spot. I don't think Soto's cut out to play right field in San Francisco at all.
No way. Shout out Robert Deauville. Imagine, have you ever heard of this? Somebody goes out and buys a Porsche, right? They bring it home. They buy it. They don't really do too much inspection. They bring it home. They lift up the hood, and there's a Honda Accord engine in it. That's what Juan Soto is, man. He's all like great hitter, but like, oh shit, he sucks in the outfield. He's not really fast. His arm's kind of weak. Like, wait, what did we just pay $700 million for? Like, he's a great hitter, 100%, but not much else.
I mean, to say he sucks is probably a little bit unfairly weighted, but he definitely is. He definitely is not above average. That's for sure. And so if he's just average or below, I mean, it just doesn't seem worth it. I think Ohtani fucked up salaries and negotiate and all of it. He like screwed baseball over, right? Yeah. And the league let it happen, and the teams let it happen. It was a joke, man. It was just a big lottery.
The money, right? That's the worst.
Yeah, part. And the tax evasion on top of it just makes it ugly. But like, basically, Ohtani just sort of like set the tone for going for the biggest salary possible for the least amount of work, and just the bidding wars that it creates. All like, it's just ugly, man. That's not what baseball is about. And we know Soto's going to go where the money is, right? I mean, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. He wants to win, and the teams that win are the ones that are going to put up the most money. So there you go. Yankees, Mets, Dodgers. Who else? I mean,
I think, I don't know these guys clearly, obviously, right? But I do think that Soto is the type of guy that would really love to be the highest paid player in baseball.
Sure.
Like that might be more important to him than winning a World Series. He already won the World Series. He's already got that. He's got his stats. He's impressed people. But now, like, I'm the chingon. I make the most money in baseball. It's like that. It's like I see that in this guy. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Dodgers made close to $7 or $8 million just in Ohtani revenue this year.
Sure.
Soto is not going to do that. No one else is going to do that. Jung-Hoo Lee, not going to do that. Like, Ohtani is a special individual for that reason, mostly in my mind. Jury's out to see if this guy's going to ever pitch the same way he did. But look, the World Series, the attendance, more people watched the World Series in Japan than did in the United States.
That's right.
That shows you what's going on. And if the fucking Dodgers get this Sasaki guy too, that means they're going to have Yamamoto, Sasaki, and Ohtani. They might as well just buy Japan.
Yeah. Well, Yamamoto doesn't really impress me all that much. Sorry to
Glenn's
say.
claiming Cy Young next year.
I highly doubt it, but he's just a closet Dodgers fan anyway. He's only got one foot in the closet too. Like,
I
let it out. I don't know, like thinking about what the prospects are for the Giants and this whole salary cutting thing that they're, putting out there. Like, I don't know what it's going to be like, but I know Soto listen, if you're cutting your salary, you're not paying for Soto anyway. And I mean, I applaud those guys' enthusiasm about trying to get him, and I understand why they think the Giants should get him. And there's a part of me that says, sure, yeah, it would be great to have Soto, but they have bigger needs than one guy. The farm system has just finally started to produce a couple of good prospects in the last 2 years. They need pitching. They need a shortstop really bad. They're going to need a first baseman. If they decide to stick with Wade and give him one more year, that's okay. 25 is not going to be a contender year anyway. But, they got to fill these holes, and Soto doesn't do it, And I don't think the marketability thing, like you said, it's not going to compare with Ohtani. So that doesn't do anything for the Giants off the field, right?
Well, I might be the only one. I mean, I've got a lot of people arguing with me that say the Giants are dying for a star, and you're wrong, Schmitty. They will buy Soto jerseys. People are hungry for having a star that they know will be here 12 years. They can invest in some merchandise. I see it like that, and that's true, but it's still not to the level of I don't even think Aaron Judge. I think Aaron Judge always will outsell Soto in jerseys, and that's a possible reason why Soto doesn't go back to the Yankees.
Yeah, and I think projecting that for Soto is a coin flip at best. I mean, yes, possibly he could be in San Francisco for 10 years. He could sell a shit ton of jerseys. They could get the fans back to pack the yard again. I mean, there's a lot of ifs, right? A lot of things could happen. But the flip side of that is he's a star mired with a team that's middle of the pack, and the fans still aren't coming out. You might get a few more that want to see him hit home runs, and you're still not selling the jerseys. And then what, right? I mean, you spent all this money, you got this guy. If he can't get you rings, what else is there? So I've tried to go through this free agent list over and over and over again. And you and I have both picked out targets that I think would be much wiser spend for the Giants. Soto just doesn't seem like it. And there's no way. It's not happening. So I think the way we should look at it is like, okay, just forget about Soto. Like, he's going to sign somewhere. It's not going to be San Francisco. It's better to just move on from what you could have had but aren't getting than to keep thinking you're going to get it and you're totally not going to get it. And then you're going to be disappointed.
Right. No, 100%. Yeah. And so just, patience is tough, but we need to do it. There's some stuff in the news though. Baseball, it's been slow, but there is some stuff in the news. The Mets acquired Jose Siri. They traded him for some reliever today. And the thing I wanted to talk to you about, because this is controversial, the Orioles, they're doing what some fans want the Giants to do. They're moving in their fences and lowering them. Is that to keep some players or to attract some players? Cheryl and I have this conversation all the time. She loves the fact that she's right on this. Why is every stadium not the same? If baseball is a statistic sport, why are the fences different and all this stuff? Like short porch and right field for Yankees, that gives a left-hander more opportunity to hit home runs. Is that fair to a left-hander that played his whole career as a Giant? Like these and this stuff. But is there a rule? Like, are the Orioles able to just be like, we're going to move the fence in this year?
They have to get league approval to do it. But if you go back and you look at the history of baseball going way back, 100 years, right? The stadiums were even more different from one another than they are now. They're actually much closer to being the same relative proportions. But if you look at like, did you watch the game, the Birmingham game? Did you see that? Okay. So when you look at how that stadium is constructed and the shape of the field and the outfield and everything, you're like, wow, they played baseball here. You look at that famous footage of the catch by Willie Mays, and it's like, what? How far away is that wall? 500 feet. I mean, you just look at the footprint of stadiums. It's gotten more uniform over the years than less. However, I totally see where the distances and all that stuff are like. It is strange in a stat-driven game, right? But now with the balanced schedules, I mean, every team plays every other team, and every other year they play in their park or this park. So I think they're kind of balancing it out that way. And I'm totally against lower fences. You want to move them in 10 feet? Great. Don't make them lower. We already see enough fan interference garbage going on that, like, you don't need a 6-foot fence where people are just hanging over into the field, right?
I did love that Profar catch at Dodger Stadium, though. I mean, come on.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Hey, the Padres lost, but that play is forever. That was amazing. Yeah, he just turns around and everyone thought he didn't catch it. He's and it's just like,
the greatest.
I could watch that all day.
The greatest deke in history was him deking the fans on that. Fantastic. 100%. But yeah, you know what I miss is the prison yard at Candlestick between the bleachers and the fence.
Oh, where it's just people jump over for home runs and free for all.
People are just piling down there, and it's cyclone fencing, and it was like that was something else. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what Baltimore's up to. I don't know if they're trying to bring in weak hitting dudes, warning track power dudes. Like what? I don't know what the reason would be for that. I mean, if they're trying to excite the fans with more home runs, that works at home, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's like, hey, Santander, stick around. Stick around. But I don't know. The other thing we got to talk about is the rookie of the years. So we got Luis Gil and Paul Skeens. And I don't know if people are paying attention to this Paul Skeens thing, but I'm a baseball card collector, and this has gotten absolutely out of control. Do you know about this?
The gold card? Is it that?
The 1-for-1 that the Pirates are offering 30 years of season tickets behind home plate. Livy Dunn, his girlfriend, is offering a seat in her luxury suite at the game to join her to watch a game.
One time. One game.
One time, yeah.
Oh, why would you go?
No. This is no. This is all a package. It's not either or.
Oh, that's on top.
This is all for the one guy. And then Seth Meyers invited the guy to be a VIP at the late night show that he hosts. It's you got to look into this. There's a lot to it. And I've never seen, I got to say, Paul Skeen's hype it seems like it's equaling to some guy named Otani right now. Like, I see this guy's name every day in headlines, and him and his cute girlfriend are out at LSU doing this. She's dressing up like him for Halloween. He's winning Rookie of the Year. He didn't even play a full season. Like, if you're a collector, you want that Paul Skeens card.
And it's out there in the world somewhere.
It hasn't been found yet. Yeah. It's probably still in a pack somewhere unless somebody bought a box. A lot of times people buy boxes and they don't open them. They just put them in storage for later years. So you never know when this thing's going to get discovered.
So how many packs are you buying looking for it?
I've been told that I'm not allowed to buy packs until after Christmas.
Oh,
we don't know what Santa's going to bring.
You're on a card moratorium.
Yeah, I got to pay off my debt first. That's a smarter move.
Imagine what you could sell that card for if you did.
Oh, no, that's what. Okay, so some other investor said, whoever finds it, hit me up before you hit up the Pirates. Like,
right.
Basically, I might have more money involved in it's crazy. Like,
yeah, that's just overhype though. Like, it's all cool that Pittsburgh wants to offer all this stuff to whoever finds that card. It's like the Willy Wonka ticket, right? Mm. That's cool. But then you got, at some point it's just like, come on, man, this is just too much. Like, the guy's a pitcher in Major League Baseball. Who knows what's going to happen? Next year, he could be terrible. He could blow his arm. You don't know, right?
Yeah.
So
true.
It's all this excitement over this thing that's so transitory, right? I don't know. I know you're a Skeens fan. I don't know. If he was such hot shit, why is he in Pittsburgh? Right? Like,
they drafted him. They were.
No, I know they
got an early draft.
I know
he should be on the Giants. The Giants should have these type of players from ending up so low in the season. But I just like, I like to see Pittsburgh. I'm a Pittsburgh fan, actually. I like the city. It's a blue collar city, and my boy Andrew McCutchen, he did good as a Giant. I got his back. Barry Bonds came from the Pirates, and I grew up a Steeler fan because I was a bandwagon Terry Bradshaw fan. So there you go.
All right. Yeah, no, the Andrew McCutchen, man, is just Godhead. Like, that guy, class act, great player. We got a little bit of him in SF for almost a full season. Dude, I was really bummed to see him go to the Yankees that year. And it was like a week after that walk-off, kind of hurt.
Tough. That was tough.
Yeah, dude, Kutch is great. So yeah, Pittsburgh, I like Pittsburgh.
Well, you said it yourself. You're kind of not a Skeens fan. How did you take the news that he beat out Merrill? Because Merrill, he's on the Padres that go to the postseason, and he was a big reason why they were there. And he played a whole season. He's an offensive player that plays every day. There's a lot of people, including myself, that could have said, like, I don't think Skeens I think Skeens' hype got him the Rookie of the Year more than his on the field. Dude, the guy pitched really good, though. Let's not overlook that.
He did, and down the stretch, he was strong. So I get it. And I think the Rookie of the Year award is, they can afford to be a little more flexible about who gets it and why. But in terms of like the MVP, for example, like, I don't ever want to see a pitcher get an MVP. I'm sorry, but like, you played once every 6 games. How are you MVP?
It's happened.
I know it's happened. That guy here. Right? I don't even want to talk about it. But I think for Rookie of the Year, like, Merrill's a beast, and it's kind of a shame that he didn't get it, but I think there's a little bit more flexibility with the Rookie of the Year, that they just kind of like are going to look at the guy that had the biggest influence, maybe more than the absolute numbers guy or whatever, because otherwise a pitcher would never win that either, right? But yeah, we'll see. So what This is Luis Arias. I mean, are we really going to talk about this? Is there any possibility?
I don't know. I think that he is in the same category for the Padres as Lamont Wade and Yaz are for the Giants. I think that he is under arbitration, but he's not on the team until they agree on arbitration. And I think he wants to come back to the Padres, but I don't know if I think it all comes down to this Friday, like you said, if the Padres are going to offer him something that he will accept, or if he's going to say no thanks and go out into the free agent market.
Yep.
If he goes into the free agent market, I think you and I agree that Mr. Posey, Mr. Wynn, Mr. Evans, Mr. Maniason, Mr. Barry, and maybe bring Barry Bonds with you for all that, and Will Clark as well, and go down to San Diego and have some fish tacos at Ocean Beach and persuade Luis to be a Giant, because that guy will have some great numbers in our ballpark.
Yep. And he can play first base, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it kind of solves a lot of problems with one.
Can you imagine having a guy on our team that doesn't strike out for a whole month? Like, that would be insane.
Yeah, be something.
I mean, there's a guy at third base and he scores. Wow. Incredible. The Giants have actually scored with less than 2 outs and a runner at third. This is incredible news.
Well, that's what the difference between having hitters and not having hitters does. And the Giants, I mean, even 2021, and we were chatting about this a little bit, but like in 2021, they sucked with guys on. It's been years and years and years since they've had like just solid hitting, moving guys over, bringing guys in, just getting it done. Like it's been years and years. And it's like, man, they got to change the philosophy around that, because Oracle's not a home run park and you don't have a bunch of true power guys. So the two things cancel each other out. You got nothing, right? And just that hitting with guys on base, let alone runners in scoring positions, just abysmal numbers, you know? So a guy like Arise would be a great fit, you know? And I think Jung-Hoo Lee is, you know, if he can stay healthy this year, he's going to show us a lot of that spray hitting that they need to have with guys on base. And you got to build on that. And I'm sure Buster is well aware of this, right? That he knows what the stats show, and they just couldn't get it done. I mean, this was the running joke with me and my dad for the last couple of years before he died. It was like, bases loaded, no outs, watch him not score a single effing run, right? I mean, this was like the constant. And that's got to change, man. So like a Rise would be fantastic. If they had a snowball's chance in hell of getting them, they should try.
Sure.
Yeah. The Adames thing, I mean, man, if you can overpay and get that guy instead of Kim, I'd definitely be on board with that. And as far as the outfield, like Santander, I don't know. I think they could get away with the outfield guys that they have and just kind of try to figure out between McRae and Matos which one can do it at the major league level and sustain it at the major league level. And then you got Lee out there. You got Ramos, I think he's going to have a monster year this year.
25 to 30 home runs.
Yeah. And I mean, he came up after a month and a half this year. Was that it? Before, when Lee got hurt, it was about 45 days or something like that. So a full season in the majors for Ramos is going to look good, I think.
Okay, I agree with you, but only on this condition. You can't have the same first baseman and the same right fielder. One of those has to be a new player.
Yep.
So if Lamont Wade and Wilmer are at first, we can't have Yaz in right. And Matos and McRae, like any of that combination, it has to change. And it's not going to change at third base. It's not going to change at catcher. It's not going to change at center or left. So right field and first base and shortstop are the three pivotal positions. Shortstop's going to get handled, whether it's Kim, Adames, some other guy that's not even being mentioned, a trade. We don't know. Shortstop is going to, put it this way, the Giants will get a shortstop and they will not get Soto. I can bet you money on that.
Yeah.
Second base is probably going to be Fitzgerald, but Casey Schmidt, they're gonna be people battling for it in the preseason. But I think it'll be in-house. First base is where they really got to make their decision, and it's kind of a package deal, right? Like if you keep Wilmer, he can't play every day, and if you keep Wade, he can't. Both these guys' legs are kind of shot. So as much as we hate seeing the platoon, it almost makes sense for those two guys.
I think Wilmer.
And I don't want to hear Eldridge. Listen, this guy should start in AA, work himself into AAA, and let's talk about it at the All-Star break. The guy should be nowhere near Oracle anytime before All-Star break.
Yeah, I think they should definitely have him up for spring training and
Sure.
just know that he's going to start the year in Sac or Eugene. That's it, right? He's not going to start in San Jose. He's already well past single A ball at this point. But yeah, he needs development time. This is the mistake the Giants have made over and over with prospects, is they've pushed them up to the major league level too soon because the guys at the major league level weren't performing, right?
And all the emphasis and pressure, right? Like,
yeah. And
Eldridge is going to bat fourth. It's like, dude, he's not even on the team. Like, chill.
So let's compare Luis Matos to James Outman. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When the Dodgers brought up Outman stayed up, right?
Redwood City.
He went through, ups and downs, and for a minute he looked like the real deal, and then he was in a horrible slump and making errors. But they stuck by him a long time before they finally made that decision to ship him down. Meanwhile, the Giants, Matos was up, down, up, down, up, down. There were times that he came up, he didn't even get in a game and went back down. And like that just does not work. I mean, they need to look at the way they handle the prospects better and make sure like a dude is major league ready and he's confident enough to play at the major league level, and we're going to be confident enough to keep him up and not just play this game of like, let's try him out for 7 days in SF, send him back to Sacramento. He's got an apartment in Carmichael. He's got an apartment in Daly City. He doesn't mind. Like, none of that. Just stop it, man.
Well, that's the problem, right? The Dodgers probably their AAA's in like Albuquerque or something, right? Like, we have a AAA facility 1 hour drive from our place. These guys can go back and forth and not switch teams. Like, they could just go up there for the day to watch a game and come back if they want. Like, it's that easy. But Buster Posey did go on record, and I think one of the things that I'm stoked about having him involved is he's like, dude, you don't have to like be like this hot guy. You have to show it. Like, you have to tear up AAA before we're bringing you up. It's not like, oh, he's not doing that good, but he's great, we'll bring him up. No. It's like, this guy is smashing the ball. He is just too good for AAA. He's coming up. And that's what he wants to see. And I think hopefully that's what he's going to do at Eldridge. I don't know here's the biggest mystery for me. The biggest mystery, more than Soto, more than anything, is this guy, Marco. I don't know. It's like Marco Luciano. Marco Luciano. Like, I don't know where this guy's going to go.
You hate to just say like I'm giving up on this young dude because he's what, 20?
He's young,
23 now. But between the injuries that he had early on, right, the back injuries and the weird stuff, and then his just inability to play simple fundamental infield baseball, get balls, make good transfers, make good throws to second base, to first base. I mean, I don't know if he's one of those guys who just can't handle the bright lights, or if he really isn't as skilled as we were all led to believe when they signed him at 17 and said he's the greatest thing ever. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And him in the outfield is even scarier to me than in the infield, because now the ball's 250 feet further away and you're counting on him to prevent something from happening. Like, oh, I don't know. It gives me the willies. I will say this. I think Wilmer is adios. I don't think he's going to be around. I'm thinking that Yaz, I mean, there was a little bit of talk about trades involving Yaz and Lamont, and I think, and Doval too. And I think at this point, like,
I'd be okay for those guys.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, I think out of all three of those guys, and I could be wrong, I think Doval has the most trade value. That, a lot of teams would be looking for a guy who can touch triple digits, right?
Yeah.
And they'll look at this season as an outlier compared to the last two seasons where he was pretty consistently good.
Doval's my dude.
Yeah. And so as much as, if he could be the guy that he was, I'd say, dude, keep this guy, sign him for another 5-6 years, right? But this year, just the mental fortitude was not there, man. And they didn't help by sending him down. I'm sorry. I think that was kind of Bush League, right? I mean, he wasn't getting it done, but damn, dude, like the only good thing, the only upside of that was that we got to see Ryan Walker really shine, right?
Ooh, and boy, did he.
He was already great. And then when he got elevated to the closer thing, he took it on like, dude, this is what I was made to do, right? I mean, he impressed the hell out of me. So if they could get good value for Doval, do it.
Well, I don't know if this goes without saying, but this is what I've been like typing like a maniac in other chat rooms, is like, it all comes down to what you're getting. Duh. It's like, you don't trade these guys just to get rid of them. Like, right. If you're getting worse pieces, that doesn't make any sense. Yep. And who wants to give away something better than what they're getting? So trading, I think this is a huge problem for trading. Like, it's like, it has to be in a way something that's pretty close to even, and something that you have abundance of for something that you need. Right. So like, I got 20 pitchers, I can afford to trade 3, and I need a bat. Yep. That makes sense. But you're not going to trade Yaz for another Yaz. Like, that makes no sense.
No.
So everyone that's like, trade. It's like, dude, trading is probably very difficult.
Yeah.
Free agency is the way to go. It's like, you can just, if you got these guys that are billionaires, and I think we're in the top 10 teams in all of baseball as far as richest owners, we can outspend a lot of people and put certain people into the ballpark that are going to draw a lot more people. So Johnny T, what up?
Yeah, Johnny T's in the house. The Giants are the 5th richest team in baseball.
The 5th. Okay.
5th. Okay. That's a lot of fucking money. Right. And to not spend that on talent is just horrendous. Here's the thing with the Doval thing. If they could get some good value back and a different position player, perhaps, or like a couple of prospects that are going to come up to fill positions in the future, I would be okay with it, because if you look at the bullpen depth that the Giants have right now, there's so many guys and so many young guys in there that we don't really know what quite they're going to be yet, but they appear to be strong in their early days of the major leagues. Landon Roop, I think, has a lot of potential. I think if Eric Miller can dial in his control and keep his head about him just a little bit more, he's going to be really dominant in the pen.
Randy
Rodriguez. We talked about Walker already being potentially the closer, and Tyler Rogers. I hope they make him an offer and keep him around, because he's that one unique. Tyler, yeah.
Yeah, not Taylor.
No, Taylor can walk. I mean, he's free agent anyway, right? And Tyler's the one who's in.
No, I don't think so. I think
they're stuck with him.
I think they're both for at least another year, but I'm hoping they can say Wilmer and Taylor together can go back to Milwaukee, and we'll get somebody good. I don't
Oh,
know.
Giant Sports Talk Live is in.
Oh, good evening,
And
gentlemen.
okay, so we got to talk about this. So Johnny's coming in with the web trade talk, man.
Yeah.
This one
Okay.
keeps popping up on the other
Thank
channel,
you.
and
Thank
it's
you.
like,
Okay,
no.
here's my first question. When did you guys become Giants fans? What year? Was it post 2024? Like, what are you talking about? Logan Webb is he's like the modern day Posey, the modern day Lincecum. Like, Webb is our Brandon Crawford. We're not trading Webb. Posey, when he left, said Webb is the future. Like, there's no chance. If okay, here's one thing. Logan Webb straight up for Vladimir Guerrero. I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah, because it's an impossible equation that
But
can't.
who
right?
realistically are you going to get for Webb? I don't think anybody worth it. I think Webb is so undervalued. The guy gets religiously 0.8 runs a game support. Like, he literally has to not give up a run to get a win.
Yep.
Every game. The stress of that over 162 games, I watch it. I went to 57 games last year. I seen Webb pitch a lot, and the guy, he brings great attitude. He's from the Bay Area. He reps he's at the Warriors games courtside rooting for the Kings. It's amazing. He wants to light the beam. Let him. I don't care. I love Webb.
Yeah, I like Webb. I don't want to see him go. I mean, he's got 3 years left on this deal that they gave him the 5-year extension. It's like, ride out the 3 years, as Johnny points out, 200 plus innings. I don't want to see him throw that many, but he's definitely a pen saver. He's definitely a competitor. I mean, he's a bulldog out there, whether he's getting backed with 6-7 runs or whether they're not scoring behind him at all. He's the same guy. Right. And I think that
he wants the ball.
He's a guy that has the Giants attitude that you want, right?
Absolutely. He knows the history and how important everything is that matters.
Yeah, and he's a lot like Matt Cain to me in terms of the run support, obviously, which sucks, but just in terms of that, just tenacious, like stern, and doesn't ever get frazzled. I never saw Matt Cain melt down one time in his whole career, right? And Webb strikes me as having the same kind of makeup psychologically. So, yeah, he's not a guy I want to see go. And you just sign a hardcore ace. He's not going to be butthurt. He's going to go out and do his job just like he always has, right? So, yeah, it makes no sense to me. I hear a lot of people bring that up, and I think it's just desperation, just grasping at straws. Like, oh man, we should be better. Why aren't we better? Well, we could get something for Webb. It's like, I don't want anything for Webb. I want Webb. That's it.
Who else are they going to get too? Like, I think that's something that they would it would be a bummer. And it's like Webb is the reason that you can get Snell. Think about it. Webb throws 200 innings a year. Snell is not that guy. Right. So if you lose Webb and you just have all this young talent that probably gets in trouble in the 5th inning, and you can't be, you need to have a guy that's a horse like that. And then Snell can come in and throw his 5-inning no hitters and leave in the 6th if he needs to. And it doesn't kill our bullpen. Our bullpen is our strength, and we need to keep it strong throughout the whole year. Stamina.
Yeah, and I think lastly on this notion of trading Webb is that, okay, we don't know what Robbie Ray is going to be this year, right? We can project that he will be better, but we're not sure. Okay, Harrison, who knows? Kind of a question mark right now. Birdsong, yeah, I mean, great stuff, but he didn't get past the 5th inning at all. I think maybe once, right? And so
he's young though. He
is young. I think he's got a lot of potential.
He's going to bulk up this year. Watch, he's going to come in like 30 pounds heavier.
Yeah, he looked like all of 15 years old out there this year, but he's got great stuff. So anyways, I think that the notion of trading away your number 1, number 2 guy with that kind of situation going on with the starting pitching, I mean, they have depth. They got a lot of guys they can try out. but you don't have that established 5-man rotation that is trustworthy every outing, right? So yeah, Webb's got to stay.
Trade young, controllable players for a legit MLB player. Sure.
Yep.
I agree with that 100%.
Yep.
But when you're talking about young, controllable players, I don't put Webb into that category. There's a few guys that are untouchable unless you give me Vladdy. For Vladdy, you can have anybody on the team.
Yep.
Basically, I'm throwing that out there. Vladdy's better than anyone on the team. 1 for 1, I'll trade anybody for Vladdy. Who else is available out there? We're not going to get Trey Turner. Phillies aren't giving that up. Harper, he ain't going anywhere. Who are you going to get? You tell me somebody good, we can talk about it. Otherwise, we're keeping Webb and we're bringing in Snell. And I do think it matters that these players have the options, which is going to prevent us from, we're going to lose 2 draft picks. I think that's huge. I think Posey definitely, especially with Wynn and all this attention for the minor leagues now, I think that they're not going to want to lose draft players unless it's like, if they were to get Soto or this big time player, they would think about, but they're not just going to get Burns, Adames, and somebody else and lose 6 draft. You know what I mean? So I think that's going to go into a lot of these equations, and that's why probably they'll get Kim and not Adames.
Yeah,
but we'll see. We're just gonna have to see.
Yeah, and again, the thing with young players is like, how many of those guys really have trade value that's going to bring in the type of MLB top tier talent that the Giants really desperately need? I mean, it's like, how many guys do you have to package to get one guy? I mean, at some point, you have to find out like value versus what these guys might be down the road if you keep them one more season and get them into some games and let them show their potential. Like you look at Casey Schmitt, for example. Casey Schmitt, very limited playing time, he was either hot or cold. He was either having the game of his life or he kind of stunk. And that's not a guy that you could put out on the trade market and expect a high return of value for, right? So it's problematic, although it's a smart thing is if you can get good value for those young guys. Yeah, sometimes you have to, even if it's like a fan favorite guy, you got to say, well, we need to make the entire team better, and this guy is our key to doing that. And it's tough, but sometimes you just, and I'm sure like in a front office, the emotional attachment to guys is far less because it's a numbers game and it's a money game. To us as fans, it's like, no, don't trade that guy. He's my guy.
So let me put this out here. As we're winding down, we're going to tune out at 8 and go in and talk with Glen and Eric. But I got this as the ending question for everyone. And if you're watching this not live, please join us live. We'd love to have you in here in the chat and adding to the conversation. Wisenhunt and Bryce Eldridge for Gosman and Vladdy. Yay or nay? I say yay, and I bet you no one else does because everybody's all hyped up on this Bryce Eldridge hype. But let me tell you something. There's a guy named Vladimir Guerrero that's already what you want Eldridge to be. Fucking, I don't care if he's 19. Vladimir Guerrero is doing it. You put him into our lineup, you get the sales on jerseys, you get a 3 or 4 hitter, whatever what you want to put him at, number 3 or 4, probably 4 with Ramos third, something like that. We need to get Chapman at least a 6. He can't be 3 or 4 or 5 this year. If Chapman bats 6 legitimately this year, the Giants are going to be a good team. That's how I look at this whole thing. Yep. So I don't know. Everyone's talking about Bryce Eldridge as the next coming. I heard it with Luciano. I heard it with VR. I heard it with Wade Meckler. I didn't hear it with Donovan Walton.
Oh, man.
But yeah. I don't know. What do you think, real quick? What do you think about it's trading Bryce Eldridge, who's like our top prospect, for somebody that's, I mean, not just for anybody, of Vladimir Guerrero? a Trey Turner, somebody that's an established like star.
Okay, Trey Turner would definitely do it, right?
Yeah.
You'd take Trey Turner. Vlad, I think, provided that Vlad doesn't turn into Prince Fielder in a year or two, of course you would, right? So, yeah, I mean, I've got no issue with that. Bringing Gosman back, I think there's a lot of just sour grapes there. Having him back in SF, I don't think would work out real well.
But Farhan's gone. Isn't that the whole problem?
That was the whole problem. But
so I think it'd even be funny, like, oh, the guy that blew it is gone, and now we get back the guy that he blew it with.
Yeah. So, anyways, I they've hyped guys up, and how many of them have actually flourished? I mean, we're talking about the last decade when it really Bumgarner, Lincecum, Kane, Posey, all these guys. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's been a long time since they touted prospects and they came up and they were the real deal. And that's what we need. If Eldridge is the real deal, it works out great. If they get, some insane trade offer for him, great. Let's see it. You and I, we don't know much about Eldridge. I haven't seen him play. I've only seen some highlights. I don't know what he's going to be.
I keep hearing that he's working his tail off on defense, which I don't really get super stoked on. Like, if he's not that good at defense, it's kind of a problem. But yeah, we'll see. I think, like I said, I don't think the next 10 days is going to be bringing us anything except for stuffing, turkey, and preparation for Thanksgiving. But I do think that weekend will start to slowly kick gears in. I don't know if Soto needs to be the first piece. I don't know that. I know that Ohtani did last year, but I'm hoping people can just start doing things without worrying about like who's setting the bar for the, all that crap. It just, it gets ridiculous. It's like, I'm 13. What team am I going to? It's like, get out of here. Let's just go. Let's have 1 week where there's just an open window of like, time is now. Trade, free agency, whatever. There's a deadline, and then it's done. That's what I want to see. Like NBA, it's so much more exciting. So yeah.
So 2 quick things. Keep an eye on Friday because that's when the QOs have to be in, and we'll see what happens. I think the deadline is 3 p.m. Eastern or something. So that'll tell us a lot about how the off season is going to start shaking out in terms of where guys are going to be going, who's going to be leaving, who's going to be staying all across the league. That's a big one. And if you're watching this live, it's just about time that you got to jump on Giant Sports Talk Live on YouTube and check out Eric and Glenn and the madness over there. So
and they will definitely convince you that Soto is coming to the Giants. And if he doesn't, he should be. That's what you're going to hear about over there. And I love both those guys. They're a huge inspiration for what we're doing.
Yep.
Sometimes we don't agree on things, and that's okay.
Yep. I think we're going to have to do a little spoof of their video. Soto is not coming to San Francisco.
Dude, we're going to have to get into the video production a little bit. And I love how they bring up the comparisons. I really love that. Like, hey, let's see like Hunter Bishop versus Eldridge and like, what's the difference? Like all that kind of stuff is really cool. So, well, thanks again, everybody. Remember, without you, there's no us. All right, dude. Let's do it again soon. I like doing these 7 to 8s. We were talking about maybe having a weekend show, but I don't know, maybe we're on Instagram, so we'll hype it up there, Skates on Base, and then we're trying to put up a thumbnail early enough that it kind of alerts all our YouTube. So please hit subscribe, hit like, and go Giants. We're Giants fans. Black and orange till we die.
That's right. Peace out.
Thanks, Christian. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Schmitty. Likewise, man. Talk to you soon.
Stream.
Cool. Thanks for listening to this episode of Skaters on Baseball. If you liked what you heard, please spread the word. Give us a good review, or hell, blow us up on your social media if you're down. Follow us at Skates on Base on Instagram for baseball news and other fun stuff. We love comments and listener participation, so bring it with an audio clip or an email.
You can email us at skatersonbase@gmail.com. We're everywhere you get your podcasts, and we'll be here all season long.
Let's go, San Francisco. Let's go, Giants.
I'm excited to give everything that I have for these next 6 seasons and, see where it takes us.
They can't say it anymore, Complete game, shutout, no hitter, leave me alone.
See you soon. Thank you.
And I am forever a Giant.